What if a single swipe on your phone was worth billions of dollars? What if a tiny piece of code could trigger a global legal war? In Silicon Valley, ideas are not just innovations. They are assets more valuable than oil, gold, or real estate. And when those ideas are copied, the result isn't competition. It's conflict on a massive scale fought in courtrooms instead of battlefields. From the smartphones in your pocket to the processors powering artificial intelligence, some of the most important inventions in history have also been at the center of the most expensive legal battles ever. In this video, we're counting down the most expensive patent infringement lawsuits in Silicon Valley history, starting from number 10 and moving toward the most powerful, industry-shaping war at number 1. Number 10. Maxell versus Samsung. $112 million warning shot. What seemed like a routine licensing disagreement quickly turned into a costly legal defeat for Samsung Electronics when it was found to have used patented technologies without proper authorization. The $112 million verdict may seem small compared to others on this list, but its impact was massive. It sent a warning across Silicon Valley that even smaller patent holders can challenge industry giants and win. This case proved that patents are powerful equalizers, giving smaller companies the ability to stand their ground against billion-dollar corporations. It also highlighted how overlooked agreements and expired licenses can quietly turn into major. Number 9. Apple versus Samsung trial damages. $290 million escalation. The legal war between Apple Inc. and Samsung Electronics didn't end with a single verdict. It evolved out after initial rulings. The case returned to court, where Samsung was ordered to pay an additional $290 million. This phase revealed how patent disputes can stretch over years, with damages increasing as courts reevaluate evidence and interpretations. It also showed how persistence and legal strategy can significantly impact the final outcome, turning one loss into a series of costly consequences. Number 8. Apple versus Samsung hatcher-level war. $2 billion at stake. At one point, Apple raised the stakes dramatically, demanding over $2 billion in damages. The focus? Not entire devices, but specific features, slide to unlock, gesture controls, and smart interface elements. These might seem like small innovations, but when used across hundreds of millions of devices, their value becomes enormous. This case redefined how the industry views software design, proving that even the smallest user experience details can become billion-dollar intellectual property assets. It also pushed companies to rethink how they design products, ensuring they avoid even minor similarities. Number 7. Fortress Investment Group versus Apple and Intel. $5.1 billion pressure. The involvement of Fortress Investment Group introduced a different kind of battle, one not driven by products, but by ownership of patents. Targeting giants like Apple and Intel Corporation. This case carried claims worth up to $5.1 billion. It had highlighted the growing influence of patent investment firms, which acquire intellectual property not to innovate, but to enforce legal rights. These cases have created a new layer of tension in Silicon Valley, forcing companies to defend themselves not just from competitors, but from entities whose entire business model is based on litigation. Number 6. Intel versus Velsey. $949 million semiconductor clash. When it comes to the tech world, semiconductors are the foundation, and controlling their design means controlling the future. In this case, Intel faced a $949 million verdict over patents related to chip performance and efficiency. The technologies involved were deeply technical, but their impact was enormous, affecting everything from personal computers to data centers. This lawsuit demonstrated how critical chip-level innovations are, and how even incremental improvements can carry massive financial implications when used at scale. Number 5. Intel vs. Velsey. $2.88 billion shockwave. These patent lawsuits didn't just make headlines, they cost billions. If $1 billion verdict wasn't enough, the second ruling against Intel raised the stakes even higher, reaching $2.18 billion. This made it one of the largest patent infringement verdicts in U.S. history. The scale of this decision sent shockwaves across Silicon Valley, forcing companies to reevaluate their exposure to patent risks. It also showed how multiple patents, when combined, can multiply legal consequences into overwhelming financial pressure. Number 4. Apple versus Samsung. $1.05 billion turning point. This was the case that captured global attention. A jury awarded Apple over $1 billion after determining that Samsung had copied key elements of the iPhone's design and functionality. But beyond the money, this case was about identity. What makes a product unique and recognizable? It forced the entire tech industry to rethink its approach to design and innovation, placing greater emphasis on originality and intellectual property protection. This verdict didn't just impact Apple and Samsung, It changed the behavior of every major tech company. Number 3. Apple versus Samsung, $539 million after a decade. After years of appeals, arguments, and global legal battles, the case finally ended with a $539 million settlement. This phase revealed the true cost of long-term litigation, not just in money but in time, resources, and strategic focus. For nearly a decade, both companies were locked in a legal struggle that shaped their business decisions and public perception. It proved that even the biggest companies in the world are not immune to prolonged and exhausting legal conflicts. Number 2. Intel versus patent investors, the invisible war. While headline cases dominate the news, a quieter but equally dangerous battle is happening behind the scenes. Between tech giants and patent investors, these entities acquire patents and use them to demand massive payouts from companies like Intel. They don't need to build products or compete in the market. Their power lies entirely in legal ownership. This has created a new kind of risk in Silicon Valley, where companies must constantly defend themselves against claims that can cost billions, even if they never directly copied a competitor. This invisible war is reshaping how companies approach innovation, forcing them to be more cautious than ever. Number 1. Apple versus Samsung, the global patent war that changed everything. At number 1 is the most iconic and influential patent battle in modern tech history, the global war between Apple and Samsung. This wasn't just a lawsuit, it was a multi-year, multi-country conflict involving billions of dollars, countless legal teams, and worldwide attention. At its core, the battle was about control over design, user experience, and the future of smartphones. The outcome reshaped the industry, setting new standards for how patents are enforced and respected. It forced companies to invest heavily in legal protection, patent portfolios, and innovation strategies. This wasn't just a case, it was a turning point that redefined Silicon Valley forever. These billion-dollar lawsuits reveal one undeniable truth. In Silicon Valley, ideas are the ultimate power. Patents are no longer just legal documents. They are strategic weapons that can define the success or failure of a company. As technology continues to advance, the value of intellectual property will only increase, and the battles to protect it will become even more intense. For inventors, entrepreneurs, and companies alike, the message is clear. Protect your ideas, defend your innovation, and never underestimate the value of what you create. Because in a world driven by technology, the biggest battles aren't fought with products, they're fought with ownership. Hopefully you found this video helpful. It's sponsored by IP Clutch. I tried filing a patent myself and spent a lot of money without understanding the results. That's why I built IP Clutch, an AI tool that helps you check if your idea is patentable, create proper documentation, and guide you through filing. Everything a patent attorney charges thousands for, starting at just $99. Most inventors never file because they're unsure or can't afford the process. IP Clutch gives you that clarity for free. No credit card, no attorney. Link in the description.